Just want to show you guys what I've been working on for the last almost 2 years. Revolutionary soft wash remote system. So this is what I've been building. This is my baby for the last almost 2 years. Getting a little sprinkle, but it's all waterproof, so it don't matter. But this is what comes with it. So we'll do a explainer video and show you kind of how it's set up, how it works. Made a lot of improvements through all the customer feedback, and it's been great. So let me grab you over here and show you what's included. So this is the box, and this is what is going to control everything as well as house the remote. And then you've got an actuator. So this goes right onto your valves. So it's basically just like your fingers is going to turn the valve for you. Of course, it's electronic and it's all precise and accurate every time. So a servo and then the base. Now the thing that I really wanted was a remote. So here's on off switch. The thing I really wanted was a remote that had a place to live right here in its base and to be waterproof. Now it's raining a little bit, no big deal. This is all waterproof. Everything in here is waterproof. So you just flip the little switch, pull the remote out. So it's unknown mode. And again, the phone, it looks funny, but it looks normal in real life. But so now it's on rinse. But I wanted it waterproof. I wanted it drop proof. So a little rubber strap came off, but you can hear how it sounds. This is all encased in resin, so it doesn't matter. It is absolutely drop proof, as well as, and I'll show you, switch modes. So now it's in mode 1. Ooh, this pool's green. But underwater, it doesn't matter. Push a button, go to mode 2. So anyway, completely waterproof. And then the rubber strap, as you can see, if you give me just a second, and just a little tab there, and then this stretches around, goes on your gun. I'll show you that in a minute. But this was kind of what I wanted, and I wanted it to be able to fit all the different valves. So like these are, you got a 1 inch and a 1/2 inch, whatever, precision flow, whatever, you know, there's many names for this kind of valve, but these are getting real popular. And then all you got to do is, I made a bunch of different adapters that go on here depending on what valve you have. So it's either bigger or smaller to fit whatever valve. So, and these are easy to create, easy to make new ones if new valves come out, whatever. But that's what I wanted. And it's wireless charging, so it's all waterproof. And as soon as you put it in the base, it turns off, snaps in, ready to go. So that was one of the things that I really wanted. The other thing I really wanted was for it to be able to reach through, now that you have a screen, and I wanted it to be able to go behind buildings. I didn't want to have to look for a light on my van. I got a van, but I wanted to be able to go behind a building, and if I wanted to change mix, then be able to have a screen so I can see it from anywhere. I don't have to walk anywhere. Literally, you can just change it wherever you're at. So I wanted the connectivity. That's the other thing I really wanted, is superior connectivity, and it's incredible. I'll do a demo when I get this all set up here, but I put it in a gun safe, and it still reaches through the gun safe. It's incredible. So one other thing is we got real positive feedback. So the number on the screen, so this is mode 3, and again, sorry, it's hard to see on my phone, but mode 3, and then you can control up to 3 servos. So like right now, mode 3, and then you'll see it'll change mode 4. So you can control it from the remote or from the base. Okay, now, what happens if you lose power? Okay, it's still on 5 because that's where the servo was last, so it's still on 5. So the number on here only comes from the base. So if you lose power, now what happens if I push a button? Stays on unknown mode. Okay, so it doesn't know, it's not getting a signal back from the base saying what mode it's in and what the soap's doing, what the chem's doing. So it just stays on unknown mode. So this is how you know if it's not connected. You push a button and do something and it says unknown mode, it means it's not connected. And then turn it back on. Now it'll stay on unknown mode because I probably should put it to where it sends a thing, but as soon as you push a button, then it connects and says, yep, we're on 1, we're on rinse, whatever. So the other thing is, I wanted to remember, so like let's say we go to 1, we'll go to 2, and then this is your soap. So this is your 1 soap, and this is your 2 soap. So the dot shows you which one you're controlling. So if I press the soap button now, you'll see a little thing come up here, little line. See, now soap 1 is on mode 1. Okay, press it again, it'll go to soap 1 mode 2. Okay, now if I want to control the second soap, I hold it down for a second, and now that dot moves over there. Sorry about the flashing, guys. I didn't change the frame rate or something. But now I'm controlling soap 2. So, and the same on the base. So it shows exactly what it's doing. And then now I press the soap button once, and it'll give me a soap dash there. So now soap 2. Now the thing is, so we've got mode 2, soap 1 is on 2, and soap 2 is on 1, right? Now you press the rinse button, and it's going to turn all 3 off. It's going to put them all to mode 0, okay? They're all off. But I wanted to remember, so it remembers, press rinse again. So now it's pure water, or whatever you have it set. And then it goes right back to where it was. Mode 2, and soap 2, you know, soap number 2, number 1. So, anyway, and then I didn't want it to be lost or not have a place to live. I didn't want to worry about batteries. It's all wirelessly charged in there. And, yeah, I mean, I had a criteria of what I wanted in a remote system. And so that's what I built. All right, I've been neglecting this camera. Maybe I'll use the footage, maybe I won't. Well, actually, so that's what's included. So I just have a mock setup. I'm actually changing the stuff in my van. But I want to use 2 different sizes of valves to show you. And they're as close as they can get. If you see, they overlap. The valve handles overlap. So you're not going to get any closer than that. And it still will work with a 1/2 inch and a 1 inch. You'll see in a minute when I get it set up, but it still will turn this even. Now you wouldn't have your water off and your cam right this close. You wouldn't have that. But I wanted to make sure it's universal. I want to make sure it's going to fit for everything. So we have a template. That paper back there is a drill template. I had this one, but it's getting wet. But here's all you need to install it. A drill. By the way, that's the new screen that's coming out. Everyone will get a free upgrade to that remote when it comes out in about a month. But you need a 3/8 drill, 3/8 drill bit on a drill, 2 1/2 inch wrenches or a 13 and a half inch, and a center punch. That's all you need to install this. So it's got a drill template right there, and basically you're just going to line up the crosshairs. And sorry, it's wet, but you're going to line up these crosshairs with the center of your valve. Okay, and this shape is the same shape, dog bone. I call it a dog bone. Same shape as this. Okay, and then we got a cover. Makes it look nice. But you line up these center crosshairs with the center of your valve, so you can see here, maybe a little bit lower. It's not too crucial. It can be, you know, 1/8 of an inch off or whatever. It's not a big deal. There's play in there, but now it's kind of the center there. And if you look under here, it's center this way as well, right? So that's about what you want. So you get it centered. You get it centered on your valve, and then you're just going to mark where the holes go, right? And you're going to drill a 5/16 hole, 4 of them, right? Now, I'm not doing it on the water valve. I'm actually doing it on the chem valve. And then I'm going to be putting more here. I want to do a rinse, like a dry rinse for windows. Rinse aid, that's what it is. And also a neutralizer. And that way I can control soap I mean chem, and then do a neutralizer, and I control all from the remote to do different things. So for now, it's only going to have 3. So you've got chem, soap 1, and soap 2. That's what I call them, but you can use them as whatever valves you want. So 3 servos total. It'll come in a package of either the box and 1 of these setups, or 2 of these setups if you buy that, or 3 of these. So I'm working on a version now that will be able to control a lot more valves. And it's the same price whether you buy it this separately later. These are 150 bucks. The base with 1 is $1,045. So with 2, it's $1,195. And then with 3, but they're 150 bucks whether you buy it now or later, it doesn't matter. So buy the setup with 1. If you want another one later, it's the same price. And yeah, this hooks up standard 12 volt. If you have a 24 volt system, it's no problem. The buck converter in here doesn't care. It'll go up to 36 volts. So 12 volt, no less than 12 volts, but I mean 10, you know, if your battery's running low. But all right, let me get into the install and we'll go from there. I'll set up this template on this one and mark my holes, drill some holes. Okay, and on the previous version, I had it to where it would clamp onto here on this part of the valve, but it didn't hold as good as I would like, especially for these valves. These valves, when they're new, after you use them a bunch, they're easy to turn, but when they're new, especially, they are really hard to turn. And so there's a little bit of flex, and from the feedback and everything, this is the best way to go. So the new mounting is just drill the 4 holes, and then we put a nut on either side of it and tighten it down. So now let's get into, once you drill that, okay, here's the next kind of step that needs to happen. This is very important. When this valve comes in shipping, it's like this, okay? Now this servo doesn't know where the valve is. I mean, where the arm is. It doesn't know. So the first thing you need to do, these come programmed to be all set at the halfway point. Okay, so basically 45 degrees, right? So that's about where the program, and the reason I do that is because you want to start with it in the middle, because if you start with it close to the edge, it's going to have a lot of tension, possibly break something. So we start in the middle, all of them are set in the middle, and then we'll go through and program where the stop limits are, but you want to start it within the middle, okay, at 45. But this doesn't know where it's at, we're 45. So the first thing you want to do is plug this in, and these are all labeled. They'll have a red one on here, but 3 is chemical. So if you have 3 little dashes, that's your chem, because C, A, B, C, C is the 3rd letter in the alphabet. And then you've got, so you plug that in, and then heat shrink. And then soap 1 has 1 little dash, soap 2 has 2 little dashes, okay? So plug it into chem, or whichever one you're doing. And then you want to push a button, because what happens is, it's not powered all the time. Like right now, you can move the servo, okay? And that's so that if anything happens, you can still turn your valve, which these are using way less power and stuff. They need to, they'll last a long time. But if anything does happen, you can turn your valves, no big deal, by hand. And it also uses less electricity. I didn't want this thing powered all the time because that uses a lot of amps, and we don't want to drain the 12 volt battery. So what it does is when it gets a command to move to a position, when you push a button, it will move, stay powered for 2 seconds, and then cut power. And that's part of whole engineering stuff that I had to do in here. But so that does a couple things: saves power and make sure that you can move it. So, but now it doesn't know where it's at. So we're gonna push a button. Okay, we'll just do the remote because it's more fun. So as soon as it comes on, it's because it sends a signal saying, hey, what mode am I in? And it sends it back, so it moves. So now you'll see that when you go through these, all these modes, it doesn't move at all because it's set at 45. So now we know this servo now is set where it's supposed to be for about halfway. And it's not gonna be exact, but it's fine, just so it's not at the edge of one limit or another. And so now you go through this whole thing and it won't move at all because they're all set for this position. Okay? So once that's done, now the servo's in the correct position. Now we can now, let me see, it just slides right over the valve handle, okay? And then you'll bottom these out. So it's okay, you want a little gap right here in between. This only has torsional force this way, so it doesn't need to be sandwiched up tight against the handle. And it's got a little angle so that way it fits a little better. But just so you know, you want a little gap here. As long as this is majority over the handle, that's all that matters. So now you can adjust these nuts to get it to where it's straight and flush on the valve. You want the center of the servo to be about in the center of the valve. And again, there's some flexibility, so it's not too big a deal. Let me set you back over here. That's the mechanical part of the install. And now you can see, you know, it's pretty level. But now what you can do is fine tune from here. So maybe move this one in a little bit, right? And then tighten this one, just to make sure this plate is straight this way and straight this way. So make sure it looks all about level and good. Again, you can move it in more, out more, and adjust it all from here. And then you do the same thing. Once you get this level, then tighten all these nuts together, and then we'll go to the next step. Mechanical part is done. Now the only last thing, eventually you want to put this on here when you're all done and everything's totally done, and it's just a zip tie goes through that hole right there and through that hole right there, and the same on the other side. So it comes with black zip ties to just cover that. These are all waterproof anyway, but it just looks nicer, and it says up ValveVantage, so, and it goes either way. So, okay. So now we get into the programming, okay? And this is not hard to do. It's very simple, but it takes a minute to kind of get used to. So what we're going to do, turn it off, okay? And then you want to hold, let's see if I can do it this way, but you want to hold the soap button. So, and I have a sticker too that's going to be on here. I can't believe I didn't put it on here yet, but up, down for mode, and then soap and rinse. So you want to hold the soap button while you turn it on. Okay. And what it'll do, it'll go into calibration mode. Okay. And you saw the servo, heard the servo move. So now it's in calibration mode. So chem mode 0, which is rinse. Okay. It's at position 90. That's just an arbitrary number. It's for the degrees of the servo, whatever. So it's just, that's the halfway point that I set. So now what you're going to do is press the up and down button, and you'll see it will change. 95, 100, right? So now what we're going to do is mode 0. We want this to be off. Okay? So we're going to press the up and down button until it's off. Okay? So there we go. That's totally off. Okay, totally straight. And it's a strong servo, so you don't want to go too much over, but just to where it's tight. You don't want to break stuff. These are made, I mean, it'll break the servo horn before it breaks much else. It's all plastic there. But, so, as you can see, okay? Just set it where you want it. There you go, completely off. Now, that's mode 0, that's rinse, okay? And we're gonna press soap button again. It's gonna go back to 45, because that's where it's, or 90, that's where it's set, right? So now we're doing mode 1. Chem, mode 1, position, it says 90. So now this is where we want our mode 1 to be. And again, you can set this up however you want. And you can tweak these or change these in the field, no problem, anytime. So we're gonna go to 1%, which is somewhere, let's say right there, okay? Now, and you notice there's a little bit of movement in here. You can take that out. So either by tightening this up a little bit closer, or I do have what I call boost mode in there, where it'll overshoot just a little bit. But anyway, so we'll call that right there, position 110, right about there. We'll call that for mode 1, right? On the 2. And you press soap. Now it's going to go to chem mode 2. So this will be mode 2 on the remote. So we'll just go ahead and put these in. And soap again to save it. Okay. Now mode 3. So, and then mode 6. That's the last mode. So 0 through 6. So this should be fully open. Alright. So there's mode 6. We'll press soap again. Now it's going to go to soap 1. And you're going to go through, we're just going to go through all these, mode 1, mode 2. I don't have soap on here right now, but you do the same thing. And you have to go all the way through this mode, through soap 2, before it'll save. So if you want to save all your positions, you have to press soap all the way through here. So now there's soap 2, mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, and then last one, complete all positions set. Now it remembers it, okay? And it always defaults back to rinse, so you can see now it's on off. So now our positions are set. So rinse. Position 1, position 2, mode 3. So it's kind of like, you know, when we used to have to get up to turn the TV channels with the knob, just like these, right? That's what the TV channel looked like. And then you get, had 13 channels, and then you get a TV remote, and it's like, whoa. That's kind of what we're doing here. We're digitizing your manual valves. So you're able to have complete remote control over your valves digitally. And the customers, they don't even use it manually anymore. Like if they want a certain mode, you know, you just at the base, even if you're at the base, just press the button at the base and it goes to where you want. So, yeah, and then we go to rinse. Goes up to off, right? Just past 0, exactly where we set it. Go back to mode 5. Goes to where we set 5, right? So simple, easy. And again, you can just tweak these anytime you want. All you do is turn it off, hold the soap button when you turn it on. Now we'll go through a little more complex, but if we turn it off and you hold down and turn it on, it goes to what's called boost mode. I didn't know what to call it, so I just called it boost. But basically what this is going to do, it's going to overshoot your position. So right now it's at 0. So I'll do an extreme example. We'll put it up to like 5. And you could do more than that, but Press soap to save it, right? We'll go up to 5. Okay, complete. So now what it will do is, it's in rinse. We're gonna go, I'll watch what it'll do now. So if you watch carefully, it overshoots it and then comes back a little bit to try to remove some of that tension. See how it comes back? And then if you go the other way, it goes the other way. So that's one way you can see how it just goes back a little bit. So you can, that's 5, so that's a little bit, that's, you know, depending on how much slop you have, depending on how much, whatever, but it's another parameter you can tweak.